here we go with some major news shaking up this Monday, May 19th, 2025. The Philadelphia Eagles have officially locked in head coach Nick Sirianni with a multi-year contract extension. And let me tell you, this move was not just expected. It was absolutely earned. Before this extension, Sirianni was one of the lowest paid head coaches in the entire National Football League, which seemed almost laughable considering everything he's accomplished since taking over in 2021. We're talking about a coach who, in just 4 seasons, led the Eagles to 2 Super Bowl appearances and brought home one of the most dominant Super Bowl wins this league has ever seen. That blowout win over the Kansas City Chiefs wasn't just a victory, it was a statement. A message to the rest of the NFL that Philadelphia is back and it's here to stay. And at the center of that storm, orchestrating the entire thing, was Nick Sirianni. With this new deal, you can bet Sirianni is not just getting long-term security, he's getting paid big time. The kind of money that reflects the value he's brought to this franchise. The Eagles released a statement along with the news, and in that statement, team owner Jeffrey Lurie laid it all out. He praised Sirianni for being the kind of leader the organization had been searching for. Authentic, intelligent, passionate, growth-minded, and for creating a culture of sustained success that has made the Eagles not just contenders, but consistent powerhouses. Lurie called Sirianni's leadership the key ingredient to the winning culture that's been building in Philly ever since he was hired. And it's not just talk. The results back it up. Think about where Nick Sirianni started. That first press conference, a disaster. People laughed, they doubted, they questioned if this guy even belonged. But what followed was one of the most remarkable turnarounds in recent NFL history. He won over the locker room. He won over the fans. He won over the league. Fast forward to today, and not only is Sirianni one of the winningest active head coaches in the NFL, but he's quickly cementing his legacy as one of the brightest minds in the game. Since taking the job, the Eagles have had 2 14-win seasons, 2 NFC Championship appearances, and 1 Super Bowl victory. And we're not talking about just getting by. We're talking about a full-on demolition of one of the most dynastic teams of the last decade in Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, the whole crew. They got outplayed, outcoached, and outclassed. That kind of dominant performance doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of vision, preparation, leadership, and execution. And Sirianni had his fingerprints all over it. I remember being in New Orleans that week covering the team, and something just felt different. The way the Eagles carried themselves, how they talked, how they moved, it all screamed confidence, focus, determination. They weren't there just to compete. They were there to win. And a big part of that mindset came directly from Sirianni. His approach during Super Bowl week was meticulous, calculated. He leaned on the lessons learned from the disappointment back in 2022. And he made sure every player, every coach, every staff member knew exactly what was expected. The result? One of the cleanest, most dominant Super Bowl performances in recent memory. And look, it's easy to give credit to the front office. And don't get me wrong, Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie deserve their flowers. Roseman might just be the best general manager in the NFL, and Lurie continues to show why he's one of the most respected owners in all of sports. But when it comes to game day, when it's time to prep, scheme, and motivate, that falls squarely on the shoulders of the head coach. Sirianni not only delivered, he elevated everything and everyone around him. He had great coordinators in Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio, sure. But let's not forget Sirianni was instrumental in bringing them in. That's part of being a head coach. You build a staff, you empower them, you lead them, and then you hold them accountable. That's what Sirianni has done better than almost anyone in the league. People love to question him because he doesn't call plays. They love to throw that out there like it discredits what he brings to the table. But let's set the record straight. Some of the greatest coaches in football history don't call plays. Bill Belichick doesn't. Nick Saban doesn't. Mike Tomlin, John Harbaugh, Dan Campbell, Dan Quinn, they don't call plays either. Being an elite head coach isn't about calling the X's and O's. It's about managing the entire operation, setting the tone, creating the culture, and putting your people in a position to succeed. Sirianni does that as well as anyone. Look at the player development under his watch. Nearly every key contributor on this team has either had a career year or taken a significant leap under Sirianni's leadership. And we're not just talking about talent, we're talking about maximizing that talent, coaching it up, turning potential into production. And that doesn't happen unless the head coach knows how to reach his players, how to challenge them, and how to support them at the same time. Sirianni has that balance down to a science. He's player friendly, but he's not afraid to get in your face if you're not holding up your end. He holds everyone accountable, from the rookies to the veterans. And the players, they love him for it. His ability to develop coaches is another area where he doesn't get nearly enough credit. Look at his coaching tree already. Assistants that have gone on to bigger roles, coordinators who've become head coaches. Sirianni has an eye for coaching talent. That's a huge asset for any organization. For a relatively young coach to already be building that kind of tree says a lot about the kind of operation he's running. And his personality? Could there be a better fit for Philly? He's fiery, he's emotional, he's a little rough around the edges. But he gets it. He understands the city, the expectations, the intensity. He embraces it all. He doesn't shy away from the pressure. He thrives in it. That passion, that edge, that fire, it resonates with this fan base in a way that not many coaches ever have. He's Philly through and through, and the city has embraced him right back. Even in the so-called down year of 2023, when the Eagles suffered that brutal late season collapse, they still won double-digit games. Think about that for a second. They lost 6 of their final 7 games, and they still ended up with 11 wins. That's the floor under Sirianni. That's what a down year looks like under his leadership. Most teams would kill for that kind of disappointing season. And then when the pressure was cranked all the way up, heading into 2024, when people were calling for his job, questioning his relationship with Jalen Hurts, wondering if he'd lost the locker room, what did he do? He delivered another 14-win season, another NFC crown, and another Super Bowl appearance. Only this time, he closed the deal, beat the Chiefs, dominated them, shut everyone up. That's what elite leadership looks like. Now let's talk about that relationship with Howie Roseman, because that's an underrated part of all of this. It's not always easy for a head coach to mesh with a general manager, especially one as powerful and influential as Roseman. He's got an ego. He's got a reputation. He's one of the most famous GMs in the game. But Sirianni, he's made that partnership work beautifully. These two are in sync, guys. They operate as a true tandem. You see it at the NFL Combine. You see it in war rooms. You see it on the sidelines. They're aligned. That kind of cohesion between GM and head coach is rare. And it's a big reason why the Eagles have been able to build such a stable, successful program. From ownership to the front office to the coaching staff, the Eagles have established one of the strongest foundations in all of football. And at the heart of it, right there in the middle, is Nick Sirianni. He's proven time and again that he belongs, that he can lead, and that he can win at the highest level. In his first year, he took a team in rebuild mode to the playoffs. In year 2, he had the #1 seed and made it to the Super Bowl. In year 3, even with the collapse, he still managed double-digit wins. And in year 4, he put all the doubters to bed with a championship performance that won't be forgotten anytime soon. He's shown adaptability too. In that first season, he started out calling plays, realized it wasn't working, and handed those duties over to Shane Steichen. That's humility. That's leadership, knowing when to step back for the good of the team. And it paid off. The offense flourished. The team turned things around, and the Eagles got hot at the right time to sneak into the playoffs. That set the tone for everything that's come since. He's also got a knack for evaluating talent. The Eagles have hit on pick after pick in the draft during his tenure, and that's not just Howie doing the scouting. Sirianni's voice matters in those rooms. His experience as a college player, a position coach, and a coordinator gives him unique insight into what works and what doesn't. And when those rookies get into the building, Sirianni and his staff are turning them into pros, into contributors, into difference makers. That's how you build a sustainable winner in today's NFL. You draft well, you develop, and you retain. Sirianni checks all those boxes. There's been a lot of noise over the past year about his relationship with Jalen Hurts. People tried to make it a thing, tried to create tension that wasn't there. But anyone really paying attention could see those two are competitors. They're both intense. They're both demanding. They both want to win at all costs. Of course, there are going to be moments where they clash. That's not dysfunction. That's passion. That's what it looks like when two alphas are pushing each other to be great, and the results speak for themselves. Sirianni is here to stay. The Eagles made that clear with this new contract. And honestly, this is one of the smartest moves the franchise could have made. You don't let a coach like this walk. You don't let other teams sniff around. You lock him in, you build around him, and you give him the resources to keep this train rolling. Because as long as Nick Sirianni is running the show in Philadelphia, the Eagles are going to be in the mix. They're going to be dangerous. They're going to be chasing championships. And more often than not, they're going to be winning them. What's even more remarkable about Nick Sirianni's rise in Philadelphia is how quickly he's established a culture that breeds excellence across the board. This is not just about wins and losses anymore. It's about an entire organization that has taken on the identity of his head coach. That same intensity, that same grit, that same fiery commitment to constant improvement is seen in the way the players prepare, the way the coaches strategize, and even the way the front office attacks each offseason. Sirianni didn't just inherit a good situation. He helped mold it into something stronger, more cohesive, and more feared. The standard in Philadelphia is now crystal clear, and Sirianni is the one who set it. People forget how rocky things were when he arrived. The Eagles had just moved on from Doug Peterson, who despite delivering the first Lombardi trophy in franchise history, had seen his tenure spiral into dysfunction. The locker room felt disjointed. The quarterback situation was in flux, and the future looked uncertain. Then comes Nick Sirianni, an unproven coordinator with no head coaching experience, walking into one of the toughest media markets in the country. It could have swallowed him whole. But instead of folding, he went to work. Day by day, practice by practice, meeting by meeting, he built relationships. He brought structure. He turned chaos into clarity. That first year when everyone was ready. To write him off, he made a mid-season pivot, changed his offensive identity, handed over play calling, and led the team to the playoffs with a 9-8 record in a season that was supposed to be a rebuild. And it wasn't just a fluke. Sean, this year after that, he took the league by storm. With a young quarterback still finding his rhythm, a reshaped offensive line, and a defense full of ascending talent, Sirianni turned that squad into a juggernaut. They finished 14-3, locked up the number 1 seed in the NFC, steamrolled their way through the playoffs, and came up just short in Super Bowl 57. It was heartbreaking, sure, but it also proved something. Philadelphia was for real. And they weren't going anywhere. Then came 2023. On the surface, it looked like things were about to unravel. The Eagles started strong at 10-1, but then came that disastrous slide. They lost 6 of their last 7. The locker room seemed off, and Sirianni's seat got scorching hot. Critics came out in full force, questioning his leadership, questioning his relationship with the quarterback, questioning whether or not he had lost the locker room. Some fans wanted him gone. Some analysts said he was in over his head. But instead of panicking, Sirianni responded the only way he knows how, by grinding. He used that offseason to retool, to reset, to reevaluate everything from staff to scheme to structure. And what happened next was one of the most impressive bounce backs in recent memory. In 2024, the Eagles didn't just return to form, they ascended. 14 wins, another NFC title. And this time, they finished the job. They didn't just win the Super Bowl, they dominated it. They took on a team coached by Andy Reid and led by Patrick Mahomes and flat out embarrassed them on the biggest stage. And once again, Sirianni's fingerprints were everywhere. From game prep to in-game adjustments, he was the engine behind it all. The way he had his coordinators dialed in, the way the players spoke about his leadership, the confidence they exuded, it all pointed back to him. And this wasn't just about one great game plan. This was the culmination of years of building, years of trial and error, learning from mistakes, evolving. Sirianni is not the same coach who stumbled through that first press conference in 2021. He's sharper, he's more confident, more in command, and yet he's still got that same chip on his shoulder, that same fire. He's not satisfied. That's what makes him so dangerous. The synergy between him and Howie Roseman is another major reason the Eagles have been able to stay ahead of the curve. It's rare to find a coach and general manager who operate in lockstep the way those two do. Whether it's at the Senior Bowl, the NFL Combine, or the War Room on draft day, they're side by side, bouncing ideas, challenging each other, pushing for the best possible outcomes. That alignment is what allows the team to be aggressive in free agency, savvy in the draft, and consistent on Sundays. And a big part of that is because Sirianni doesn't just coach. He scouts. He evaluates. He understands roster construction. His opinion matters, and Roseman trusts him. That mutual respect has created one of the most effective GM-coach tandems in the league. It also helps that Sirianni is deeply invested in player development. His background, coming up through the CEA ranks as a wide receivers coach, then a quarterbacks coach, and eventually a coordinator, gives him insight into every position group. He's hands-on. He's in the film room. He's on the practice field correcting footwork, coaching technique, and sharpening football IQ. That's why so many players under his watch take major leaps. It's not just the system. It's the daily work, the attention to detail, the standard that he enforces. Whether it's a first-round pick or an undrafted free agent, Sirianni demands the same level of focus and effort. And players respond to that. There's also been a lot of talk about his demeanor. Some think he's too emotional, too brash, too fiery. But in Philadelphia, that's not a bug, it's a feature. That's what this city feeds on: passion, authenticity, grit. Sirianni embodies all of it. He doesn't try to be polished. He doesn't care about looking cool. He cares about winning, about loyalty, about doing right by his players and staff. That's why, despite all the ups and downs, he's earned the respect of the locker room. That's why veterans buy in. Why young players flourish. Why the front office believes in his vision. And let's not overlook the fact that under his leadership, the Eagles have not only found success, they've sustained it. Sustained success is the hardest thing to achieve in the NFL. Every team gets punched in the mouth at some point. Injuries happen. Teams evolve. Opponents adjust. But what Sirianni has done is build a team that's resilient. That doesn't fold. That finds ways to win even when things get ugly. That's culture. That's leadership. That's Sirianni even. The criticisms that people try to throw his way tend to backfire. He doesn't call plays. And some of the greatest leaders in football history didn't either. He gets emotional on the sideline. So did Bill Cowher. So does Dan Campbell. This is a passionate game. Passion moves people. Passion inspires. If anything, Sirianni's authenticity is what sets him apart. He's not a robot. He's real. And in today's NFL, players can smell fake from a mile away. What you see with Sirianni is what you get. And that's why his team plays so hard for him. When it comes to building an identity, he's done it. The Eagles have a clear identity now. Tough, smart, aggressive, unified. They can win with power. They can win with speed. They can win with brains. That versatility, that completeness is a direct reflection of the head coach. He understands the big picture. He sees the game from every angle. He knows when to take risks and when to play it safe. He knows how to manage momentum, manage egos, manage timeouts, all the little things that separate the good from the great. Sirianni checks every box. This new contract extension isn't just about keeping a coach in town. It's about investing in a philosophy, in a culture, in a future. The Eagles have something special, and they know it. They're not just building for one season. They're building for the long haul. And as long as Nick Sirianni is the one steering the ship, this team is going to be in contention year after year. The league has taken notice. Teams are starting to model their coaching hires, their locker room structures, their front office dynamics based on what Philadelphia has built. That's what happens when you win. That's what happens when you set a new standard. But while others are trying to replicate the formula, the Eagles are evolving again, pushing forward, staying ahead. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy, share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. TYREEK Hill has undeniably become the most significant signing in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles, marking a new era for the franchise. Known for his blazing speed, exceptional agility, and playmaking abilities, Hill's arrival has electrified the Eagles roster and sent shockwaves through the NFL. His signing not only elevates the team's offensive potential, but also reshapes the expectations of what the Eagles can achieve moving forward. Hill's journey to Philadelphia is a testament to his resilience and determination. Throughout his career, he has been one of the most dynamic wide receivers in the league, consistently ranking among the top in receiving yards, touchdowns, and explosive plays. His ability to stretch the field with unmatched speed forces defenses to adjust their coverage schemes, creating more opportunities for his teammates. This strategic advantage is exactly what the Eagles have been seeking as they aim to solidify their place as Super Bowl contenders. The Eagles front office made a bold statement by securing Hill's talents, showing their commitment to building a championship-caliber team. This signing complements an already strong offensive lineup, adding a deep threat that quarterbacks will eagerly utilize. Hill's presence not only enhances the passing game, but also opens up the running attack by pulling defensive backs away from the line of scrimmage. This dual threat impact is crucial for a balanced and versatile offense. Moreover, Hill's leadership and experience bring intangible benefits to the Eagles' locker room. Having played in high-pressure situations, including playoff games and a Super Bowl appearance, he understands what it takes to succeed at the highest level. His work ethic and competitive spirit will likely inspire younger players and elevate the overall team culture. This signing signals the Eagles' intention not just to compete, but to dominate in the coming seasons. Fans and analysts alike have reacted with excitement and optimism to the news. Many view Hill as the missing piece in Philadelphia's quest for a championship, a player capable of changing the course of games with a single play. His highlight reel speed and agility promise countless moments of excitement and unforgettable touchdowns. The energy surrounding the team has visibly increased, with expectations soaring for the upcoming season. In conclusion, Tyreek Hill's signing with the Philadelphia Eagles is more than just a high-profile acquisition. It's a transformative moment for the franchise. It represents a strategic move that enhances the team's offensive arsenal, brings invaluable experience, and ignites hope for a championship run. As the Eagles prepare to take the field with their newest star, the entire NFL will be watching closely to see the impact of this historic addition. Tyreek Hill isn't just a player, he's the game changer the Eagles have been waiting for. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.